All right, what is going on, my dude? So the 7-star base pool has been revealed. So we're going to break down every single champ and talk about all of them today and go over what the initial base pool of 7 stars are going to look like at launch. So along with this, I made a little checklist here, and this is the 7-star checklist, and it's pretty much going to comprise of 4 things. Number 1, are they relevant? So this means currently in MCOC, are these champions useful in war, battlegrounds, endgame content, stuff like that, right? Because listen, at this point, the people who are going to be getting 7 stars really probably are playing towards the top of the game, at least for right now, when the base pool is happening currently. In the future, if you're getting a 7-star a year or two after their launch, this video is going to be useless to you because the base pool is much larger and you could probably go on Aunt May and see them all, right? But for right now, they were literally just announced, and we're going to go over, are they relevant? Number 2, are they good unduped? There's going to be so many people who can open 1 crystal on launch. Is your 7-star good? Is it good unduped? We're going to go over it. Are they a good defender? Do you want to place them in war? Do you want to use them in battlegrounds specifically for defense? And number 4, prestige. Now, we're going to not talk about prestige too much, but there's 2 champions in here we have to talk about, okay? So, 3 champions in here I have to talk about when it comes to prestige. But that kind of goes along with are they relevant? It doesn't really matter. We're going to go class by class, and I made these little cute little things here. So we're going to go over them all and look at the champions. So first up, we got the skill class. Now, I do want to say, the initial pool of 36 champions, much better than the initial pool of 6-star champions, right? So we're going to go over again our checklist. Are they relevant? Are they good unduped? Are they useful on defense? Stuff like that, right? So let's jump right into it. Mantis. I absolutely love Mantis. I think she's great. She's actually going to be receiving a little tune-up to increase her already very large damage. She's pretty much right now amazing for nuking science champions in battlegrounds and war, but her buff is going to make her able to do that a little bit better against non-science champions too. So Mantis might be one of the best champions to pull out of the 7-star pool. She is rather relevant for skilled players in battlegrounds and war, in my opinion. Elsa, lots of people love Elsa, right? She's really solid when you run her a double edge. She's got that degen. She's going to be hitting pretty darn hard as a 7-star. Now, 7 stars are essentially at rank 1 almost equivalent to like a rank 4. So what's really solid about like this pool here is that there's a lot of champions here that I would kind of like to take to rank 4, but there are other champions that are kind of gonna like jump over them. So now if you pull them as a 7-star, it's kind of like having them as a 6-star rank 4, which is kind of nice. So yeah, Elsa, lots of Elsa fans out there. Falcon, of course, is relevant. You guys know I do not like Falcon. I'm not gonna pretend like I would be happy if I pulled Falcon. I don't want to pull Falcon, but if I do, hey man, he's not useless, right? Obviously relevant in battlegrounds and alliance war. Typically wants to be awakened, but also doesn't need to. Now we have Hawkeye. Hawkeye is definitely decent. I wouldn't really want to be pulling a 7-star Hawkeye personally, but especially if he is awakened, he definitely has some solid damage output. And as a 7-star, it's going to be very nice damage over time. Korg, obviously a mainstay in battlegrounds. However, in my opinion, he really does need to be at a higher sig to really be better than your sig 200 rank 3 or rank 4 Korg. So yeah, that's one thing with Korg. If you pull him a few times, that's going to be darn solid for you for battlegrounds. But until you get him sick up a little bit, you're not really going to want Korg. Yeah, he's fun with some synergies. He's fun with the Mojo and Thor Ragnarok synergies, right? And Valkyrie. But at the end of the day, not really what you're looking for if you can't get him awakened. Killmonger, lots of Killmonger fans out there. I'm personally not the biggest fan, but the guy is definitely useful, right? He's definitely got some good abilities, and he's a very solid defender for battlegrounds. You do have to have him awakened to be useful on defense, though, for the reverberation and everything. That's definitely very important. But yeah, overall, skill class, mostly solid, I would say. Mostly solid across the board, which is totally fine. Of course, some of them do have that SIG investment like Korg, but I mean, listen, if you find yourself with a SIG 200 7-star Korg, that's going to be pretty darn ridiculous in battlegrounds, right? Up next, we have the science class. Now, this one is pretty darn solid across the board. We got my girl Titania up there, and she's probably, man, my most wanted 7-star from the base pool, so I would just absolutely be thrilled to pull and dupe a 7-star Titania. Now, she does not need to be duped, but she definitely gets a nice benefit. She has the increased potency on her Furies against extra large champions, and also her debuffs have the chance to stack twice. So yeah, but Titania absolutely absolutely incredible, super duper relevant in both Battlegrounds and Alliance War. She's also okay on defense. That is one of the things. But yeah, so Titania, huge pull, man. OG Hulk was just buffed. Really great buff. Doesn't really need to be awakened to be solid. OG Hulk would be a fantastic 7-star in my opinion. Coming out, hitting like a 6-star rank 4, that'd be nutty. Overseer, so good, so useful, so amazing for Battlegrounds and Alliance War. I feel like a SIG 200 rank 4 Overseer is definitely going to outperform the 7-star unduped though, because of all that retaliation damage and everything. So I feel like Overseer is one of those that you definitely do want to have awakened. OG Spidey just got that buffed. I know most of the community doesn't like the buff. Personally, I thought it was fine. I think it's much improved, and I think he's certainly decent. He does really kind of want to be awakened, though, and preferably at a higher SIG. So again, he is one of those champions that feels like, you know, the 6-star is probably going to perform better if you have him at a higher SIG. But if you're a fan of the OG Spidey buff, and there are a lot of people who are fans of the OG Spidey buff, even unduped, he's definitely usable. Joe Fixit is an absolute boss after his buff, man, but in my opinion, he really does want to be awakened. Doesn't really need that high SIG, but at least SIG 20. But a 7-star awakened Joe Fixit, it's going to be really nice. Then you got Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen's a very underrated champion. I like her quite a bit, and a 7-star Spider-Gwen is going to hit pretty hard, and she has that nice utility of automatically evading unblockable special attacks and also having the slow debuff very easily on the heavy attack. So she could certainly be useful, especially as a 7-star. Also a sleeper on defense for Battlegrounds too, and especially in certain metas as well, where if you're not able to stun her, then after a few hits, if you don't really have a solid, you know, counter to her evade, she's going to be evading you, and she hits pretty darn hard when she's ramped up. So I certainly would not mind a 7-star Spider-Gwen. She's one of those characters where it's like, yeah, I wanted to take her to rank 4, but there were just like other 6-stars that I wanted to rank before her. Same thing for like OG Hulk and Overseer, even Joe Fixit, really, where I'm looking at these science champions and I'm like, they're solid champions, but you know, I gotta rank Mr. Negative, I gotta rank, you know, Quicksilver, I gotta rank Spot, I got, you know, champions who are just like definitely better. But then we have the champions like Titania, who I have it ranked for. I'm like, do I want a second copy? I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Up next, we got the Mystic class. Another solid spread here, man. America Chavez, after her recent buff, absolutely solid, man. She is running over Alliance War fights like it is her freaking job. Wiccan, super duper underrated champion, very solid. He's okay on defense, but he's very solid on attack. I don't think he's crashing the game anymore, so that aspect of his defensive kit, I believe, is finally over. I can't really make those jokes anymore. I think that's done, at least. But yeah, he's definitely a solid 2-way champion, definitely relevant in Alliance War and Battlegrounds. Back when the null bosses were the meta, Wiccan was the guy, right? Dragon Dude. I have Dragon Man at rank 4. Absolutely love this guy. If you haven't completed Eternity of Pain yet, and you get that that Dragon Dude, man, for the robot objective, he was an MV freaking P. So I have a 6-star rank 4 Dragon Dude, so I really don't want Dragon Man to be one of my first 7 stars. But he'd be a really solid one if you don't have a 6-star Dragon Man ranked up, essentially. Then you got Sasquatch, man. That dude is going to be a brick wall in Battlegrounds. So, you know, when you go up against a rank 4 Sasquatch and they have like 230,000 health, even if they're unduped, you might time out. This one's going to have, to the best of my knowledge, more health. So when it comes to that defense checklist, you know, Dragon Man definitely fills that, by the way, but Sasquatch really fills that, especially from its version. Wong, in my opinion, this guy's a little slept on. I think he's pretty underrated, but I just feel like we haven't had the content released for the champion yet. So I feel like Wong is going to be a solid one for the future Everest content. I believe he's possibly maybe going to be useful for. I could totally see that being a thing. But yeah, man, Wong is fun. Not the one I'd really want to pull out of this, but he's definitely solid enough. Then there's Mangog. Now, Mangog is fun with synergies, and he's definitely okay on his own. In my opinion, he needs a little bit of a buff, and I can definitely see that happening in the future. I think he's a very solid candidate for a value buff. But also, the dude is certainly relevant on defense, does not need to be awakened to do so. Pretty much a mainstay in Alliance War, right? Usually on node 54. So if you have a Mangog in your battle group that's like at rank 3 only has 6-star, right? You don't have a rank 4 in your battle group, the 7-star is going to slot in really nicely for your Alliance War defense for your battle group, assuming one person in your battle group pulls that Mangog. So definitely not going to be the worst one to pull. MCOC is one of those champions as well, where I've been like, I kind of like to take him to rank 4, but other champions kind of just keep like jumping him. But yeah, I would totally not be mad about a 7-star MCOC as one of my first 7 stars. The Cosmic ones, this one I'm a little underwhelmed across the board when it comes to Cosmic. I really would be fine not pulling any of these champions, and I do like a lot of them quite a bit. I really like Venom. I just feel like I don't need a 7-star Venom, but he would probably be one of the better ones out of the group. The top 3, I think, are solid. The thing is, Terrax, I really like Terrax, especially as a Herald, and he's certainly very good for Battlegrounds, and he's a very good defender for that kind of stuff. He really does want to be awakened, and preferably at a higher SIG. That's the only thing. So, of course, 7-star SIGs are going to be non-existent for a very long time. But if you happen to pull and dupe Terrax, that's going to be a solid one to throw into your Battlegrounds deck. He's also very underrated on attack, in my opinion. Gore is an absolute beast after his buff. Maybe because I have a 6-star rank 4 SIG 200 Gore, I'm like, oh, I don't want to pull a 7-star Gore right away. But yeah, pulling a 7-star Gore, if you don't have Gore ranked up, very, very solid pull, in my opinion. Doesn't really need to be awakened, but it's certainly nice to have. Very solid 2-way champion. If you don't have a solid counter for him when he's on defense, there's a good chance they're going to time out, and he can't really block hits. So yeah, really solid champ. Okay, number 4 on the list, Prestige. Silver freaking Surfer, dude, is in the base pool. So yeah, I mean, if you are in top 5 AQ, good luck. Good luck, have fun. I hope you get him a lot. Good luck, have fun. Surfer, you know, yeah, he's decent. He's an underrated champion. People like him, all that fun stuff. I'm okay. I'm okay staying away for now. But if you play in the top AQ, good luck, have fun. Gamora, I like Gamora after her buff. I wouldn't really be super upset with the 7-star Gamora, but I prefer some other ones, you know. She does kind of want to be awakened though as well. Keep that in mind. Then you have Venom the Duck. And this is the first one where I'm like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What's going on? What is this? Why are you here? You know, like some of like these, you know, Gamora is pretty middle of the pack, a little above middle of the pack, right? I got Venom the Duck, who's fun, and there are a lot of Venom the Duck fans. I would highly prefer to not see Venom the Duck in one of my first 7-star openings. I feel like Venom the Duck has a lot of potential as a champion, could certainly be very decent after a little buff. Not relevant right now, in my opinion. So hopefully we see a little Venom the Duck buff. Who knows? Only time will tell. But that's Cosmic. I feel like Cosmic is just over. Cosmic class is so interesting because it's arguably the best class right now, right? Arguably top of the class. Hercules, Hulkling, Gallon, right? Like even more. Null, other champions as well. It's really just good champs. And there's a lot of really poor champions at the bottom. Groot, Superior Iron Man, those type of champions, right? Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel. And then there's a lot of middle-of-the-road champions and above-average champions. So it's also, I believe, the largest class in the game. So, you know, none of, like, the hard hitters from any class is in the base pool. So I understand why Cosmic looks a bit underwhelming at first. But yeah, just an interesting little aside there. All right. This one's pretty darn solid, man. So Shuri's receiving that tune-up, and holy crap, man. Y'all know I liked Shuri before her buff. She is a monster. A monster after her buff. She is so good after the buff. I have her at 6-star rank 4. Wouldn't even be mad to get a 7-star, man. Not really looking to rank 2 any 7-stars right away, but Shuri might go to rank 2 if I pull her before I do like a 6-star rank 5 tech. I really like Shuri. Yeah, so Guillotine 2099, she's gonna hit really hard, man. That Guillotine 2099, that damage over time, that's gonna be hitting harder than a 6-star rank 4 Guillotine 2099. And she, you know what I mean? Like, and most people like don't rank 4 their guillotines because it's like, well, the rank 3 hits hard enough, and then I can't kill them with the special 3 because they die too fast. This is gonna be hitting harder than a 6-star rank 4, so that's gonna be probably good for the future. The next like Abyss type thing, I'd imagine she's going to be good for. Rocket Raccoon is going to hit like an absolute freaking truck, man, as a 7-star. So Rocket would be a really fun 7-star. I would love to get a 7-star Rocket. He does, in my opinion, want to be duped. Only thing. because then you get the utility from that, the Warlock type utility with the armor break and the heal block and on the power drains and battlegrounds and Alliance Force, stuff like that. So yeah, that would certainly be really nice to get him duped, but that would be a really solid one. War Machine, I'm a big fan of War Machine. I think he's really solid, does not need to be duped to have the damage and everything. So yeah, he needs a little bit of a ramp up, but he's going to hit really, really hard once he's ramped up. Mine's at rank 3. I like him quite a bit. Not my most wanted pull, but certainly not awful. Iron Man Infinity War recently got a buff. I feel like no one even talked about it. I was busy that week. I didn't even make a video about it. I can't even tell you the changes. So Iron Man Infinity War was always like decently solid. He's still going to be decently solid. He'll be annoying on defense. It's going to be a really big Iron Man Infinity War on defense for you in Battlegrounds and Alliance War. So that's going to be like solid enough. It's not going to be like the sexiest pull for you. Like you're not going to get like that amazing 7-star they're going to be using all the time. But he could be pretty darn solid in the Battlegrounds deck. Mysterio, insane with the Penny Parker synergy. Those poisons are going to be ridiculous as a 7-star. And of course, he's always really annoying on defense in Battlegrounds too with the heavy attacks and everything and Alliance War. Mysterio might be, honestly, low-key one of the better pulls in the entire base pool, especially if you have a Penny Parker. Like, the damage over time is going to be nutty, and he's a solid two-way champ, honestly, and really doesn't need to be duped either. So wouldn't be too sad to see a 7-star Mysterio, man. That'd be pretty darn solid. And then we have Mutants. Now there's some interesting champs in here, dude. First and foremost, Bishop. Bishop is amazing. Ridiculous two-way champion. One of the better mutant champions in the game, honestly, and then one of the more relevant mutant champions in the game currently. He counters skilled champions who shrug and purify everything really, really well. He's ridiculous on defense. Doesn't necessarily need to be duped to be good on defense, but it's definitely preferred. Also at a high sig. My rank 4 is sig 200. He's really, really good, very, very effective. But man, a 7-star Bishop is going to be kind of nutty. Again, minus 6-star rank 4 sig 200, so I'm not like gonna be super stoked if he's one of my first ones, but I couldn't even be mad because it's one of the better pulls in the entire pool. Sunspot is going to be nuts as a 7-star, dude. That damage will be nuts. Now, Prestige, man. I feel like people have started to forget. Sunspot used to be top 3 in Prestige at rank 3 and at rank 2. Guess what? That's gonna be a thing again. Sunspot is now, once again, going to be in the top 5 at Prestige until rank 4s become a thing with 7 stars. Probably for the next 2 years, Sunspot is now once again a Prestige champion. You want to know who else is a Prestige champion? Gambit. That's right. At sig 20 and like sig 40, Gambit and like Daredevil Hell's Kitchen have very, very high relevant Prestige at a low sig, which is interesting how they're in the first 7-star pool here. So will we see some ranked up Gambits because of that? Maybe. If I pull a Gambit, I might break my phone in half. I don't want one. But who knows? I don't think we have to talk about Domino. Obviously, Domino's good. Obviously, she's one of the worst defenders in the game to fight. If you get and dupe a Domino, dude, like, if I see that purple border around a Domino with silver stars and Battlegrounds, she's probably getting banned. Even though I have a 6-star rank 4, sig 200. Probably gonna ban her, because screw that, man. I can't even believe she's in the first pool here. That's kind of nutty. But yeah, the top 3 there, right? Lots of people like Storm Puridex. I'm not the biggest fan, but she's definitely solid. You know, doesn't really need to be duped. Solid enough. Has some nice utility. When she crits, her special 2 is pretty crazy. Solid as a horseman, better as a horseman, right? Gambit does have that perfect block thing going on as a horseman. I don't know, man. I'm not the biggest Gambit fan. A lot of people like Gambit. Not the worst pull in the world. And then we got this dude. What are you doing here? What is Sauron doing here? Sauron and Venom the Duck, those two silly boys hanging out. But yeah, so Sauron, you know, he's I mean, I think he's cool. He's like a little dinosaur guy. That's fun. Right? Dino dude, got the Dino Degen. I have a rank 3 Sauron. He's fun to use. He's very underwhelming and he needs a buff. I think he has a lot of potential, but he has not received a buff yet. So as of right now, if Sauron's your first 7-star, you probably won't be too happy with it, and rightfully so, right? In the future, if he gets buffed, maybe he'll be incredible. He has a lot of potential. He's immune to poison. He's pretty much 100% resistant to bleed. He'll heal from it. He's an annoying as hell defender. So if you happen to pull a Sauron, you could stick him on Alliance for defense. You could use him as a two-way champion in Battlegrounds, preferably on defense, right? And every now and then, he fits an objective for Return to the Pains type stuff where he could be useful for you in the future, right? But let's be real here. You're not going to want a Sauron or a Gambit as a first 7-star, right? If you pull them, not the end of the world, you know. But yeah, man, that is the first 36 champions in the basic pool of the 7-stars. There are some really, really solid ones in here, like Titania, like Overseer at a perfectly high sig, right? There are some middle of the pack champions, kind of like Hawkeye, who's definitely useful. Lots of ridiculous defenders like Korg and Domino. Some prestige champs like Surfer, Sunspot now, and kind of Gambit as well. Great. And then some champions like, you know, Sauron and Ven the Duck, who could probably use a little bit of a buff. Now, notably speaking here, you don't really see. Now, I don't really like to rank champions numerically, right? But let's be real. I'm looking at the skill class, right? Top 5 skills in no particular order. Let's just say, you know, Kingpin, Zemo, Fury, Mole Man, Valkyrie, right? Let's just say top 5 skill. You don't see him here. You could pretty much say that for any class. Titania has an argument, in my opinion, but she's probably just under top 5. You could pretty much say the top 5 of each class is not found here. Mutant has an argument with Bishop, in my opinion. But now that I have mixed feelings about that, because here's the dealio, Celio. I have one rank 5, right? I have a few friends who have more than one rank 5, but 99.99% of MCOC players who have one or more rank 5 only have one, right? I think it would be incredibly awful if 7-stars came and instantly made all of those 6-star rank 4s irrelevant, right? So, like, listen, would I love to see a 7-star Hercules so I can get a rank 2 Hercules, 7-star Rintra so I can get a 7-star rank 2 Rintra right away? Like, yeah, that'd be pretty freaking great. But at the same time, right now, I'm not focusing on ranking any of these. I'm going to be focusing on my 6-stars still. And maybe you feel differently. And maybe if I opened up my first 5, 6, 7 7-stars, and they were all Bishop, somehow, maybe I'd say screw it and rank 2 7-star Bishop. Who knows? Maybe I'll do it. But for the time being, looking at the pool, which I consider to be pretty darn good overall across the board, there are no champions here personally that would make me want to rank 2 a 7-star before I rank 5 all the 6-stars that I want maxed out on my account. And that is just personally how I view the pool. Maybe you're the biggest Elsa fan in the world, and you pull Elsa and you're done. 6-stars are dead to you. That's it, you're done. They're done. And you want to rank 2 an Elsa and you want to just roll along, progress that way. That's great. That's a you decision. I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should do that or not, because it's kind of up to you. Personally, I have my eyes on a bunch of 6-stars that I want to be at rank 5, and none of them are on this list. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big ol' like. Let me know what you think about the initial batch of 7-stars in the comment section below. Much better than the initial batch of 6-stars, I think. So that's a big W, right? I'm very excited to open mine, personally. I'm excited to see what champions are added in the future. I feel like champion acquisition has gotten pretty darn stale in MCOC for me over the past year or so. I've just been hoarding 6-star shards in anticipation for the featured crystal and getting them all. You know, so I'm kind of excited for a new rarity at this point. Well, I'm still going to be using my 6-stars. They're still going to be my main champions to use, because none of these guys are replacing my main champs yet. Who knows? Who knows who's going to be added next? That's it for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be seeing you around.